The clock has struck midnight. Free agency is open. Where will LeBron land? Will it be the land? KD reportedly staying for 2 more with Golden State. Meanwhile, PG-13 announced himself at the party, I'm staying. It'll be in OKC, but for how long and for how much? Meanwhile, elsewhere, we wonder, CP3, does he get that max and stay, or does it end up being the 4? And by the way, there's also this question about DeAndre Jordan. After all of that Mavericks hubbub a few years ago, did everybody make nice? Find himself with Luka and company and Big D and Kawhi. Can they still make nice, or will he be out east? Can the city of champions in Philly add another and make Joel Embiid tweet all night long, as the song goes? Welcome in for however long as we welcome you into the beginning of the next couple of days of fever here inside our studios in Atlanta. Casey Stern, David Aldridge, and David Griffin. We got Eric Pincus, our capologist, on board with us as well throughout the course of the night. Guys, we've talked about it, and now we're finally here. And already with Kevin Durant, with Paul George, the West, a semblance of stability with the 2 moves, at least, that we seem to know about so far.
Yeah, you know, you have to, again, continue to try to build a team that can compete with Golden State. You can't just give up. And you're seeing teams do that out West, especially, keeping their core group together, keeping their big guys together. And again, I will keep saying this. A year ago, nobody gave Oklahoma City any chance of keeping Paul George. None, 0. They said this is a rental, this is stupid, you're trading players, he's only going to be here for a year. And he is now committing to stay there because they did all the right things to try and keep him there. And you have to give organizations that do that a lot of credit for going out on a limb with no semblance of an idea of whether they were going to be able to keep him. And they were able to keep him. And I just think that is huge for them, and for, you know, other teams have to see this and go, this is why you have to try. You have to try. You may not make it. You may fail, but you have to try. And at least Oklahoma City's trying, and Houston's trying to put a team together. Durant
back with Golden State. PG-13 reported himself he's staying. Chris Paul is as well. Reportedly, ESPN saying the deal 4 for 160 and the max as expected, Griff.
Yeah, and again, to DA's point, you've got to try. And they created an environment that Chris very much wanted to be part of. And it starts with a destination player. You know, they're a team that's built around 2 superstars as well.
CP3, unfinished business, Griff, run it back.
And this speaks to that. He bought into the notion that there is unfinished business there, that they have the makings of a team that can beat Golden State. They all very much believe, if not for the hamstring issue, they get past that juggernaut already, and that's a 2-superstar team with all of the ancillary pieces very mindfully put together by Daryl Morey. Incredible credit should go to them for the way they've built that because, again, to your point, they didn't give in to the notion that they can't be beaten. They said we need to find another way. Yeah. We won't put 4 great players together. We're going to put 2 great players together and build it exactly right. And Houston did that. Right. And they're rewarding Chris Paul for his faith in them as well.
Here's the interesting thing. Let's go from what we know now for a second to what we don't as we sit on the other side of midnight, because out west, we know Oklahoma City going to stay strong. Houston, we know where they stand. Golden State won the whole thing. So why LeBron, after all these finals, does he come out to join now all 3 of those and try and get the Lakers there? A lot of talk about the plane landing and all those sorts of things. Do you expect this to take a long period of time, the next few days, which will seem like years? Can this end early? Because there's been a lot of conversation. We talked about a DA earlier. Can LeBron make this decision without other pieces, Kawhi, for example, falling into place somewhere first?
Well, yes, he can. I don't think that he is, has to know that Kawhi Leonard is coming. It will help, obviously, but I don't think he has to know that. I think LeBron is very confident, this, very confident in himself. He'll bet on himself, and he will, if the Lakers create a package for him in terms of what they expect to do the next year or 2 with the cap space that they have, I think you can convince him to go out there. I do think the pull of home is still strong. I do think that Cleveland, for that reason, still has a shot. Even though I think LeBron knows in his heart that the Cavaliers, as currently constituted, are not going to be good enough to win a championship. But that pull remains strong. I mean, there's a reason he went back home from Miami, you know. Now, they did win a championship there, so that mitigates it to a certain degree, but I still think that it's very strong. It's a very compelling argument for him to stay in Cleveland where he is and has been the guy and will always be the guy. Now, is that enough? We'll find out, but I don't think they're out of it yet.
Well, and I also look at it from the standpoint of 8 straight finals. You're LeBron James. You're dictating outcomes.
Yeah.
You're going to go where you believe you want to be for all of the reasons you make these decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever box it is he's checking, all of the family considerations, all the off-the-court considerations, everything that you put into this in terms of totality, that's really what this comes down to. Everybody focuses so much on, can he compete for a championship?
Right.
He's done it 8 years in a row.
Yes.
Of course he can compete for a championship. And we saw him make the decision to go to a team when he came back to Cleveland in 2014. Let's face it, the only reason anybody even knows my name in this business is that LeBron was with us for 4 years. And we went to the finals for all of those. And that's when you get to a point where you can start to think like he might think and say, I dictate outcome. If they have a template that we can jump off from, I'll take care of the rest.
Yeah.
Take me inside the room, if you will, the mind of a GM, because we talk about holding other teams hostage with where the direction of LeBron, and I think Kawhi this year in that trade as well, if he gets traded, where that goes. Philadelphia, Boston, certainly San Antonio, the Lakers, Cleveland, because they don't know for sure about where LeBron's going, among other teams. A, how frustrating is that? B, how do you set up that plan B, C, and D and get all of those pieces, Griff, to wait while you wait?
Well, that's the thing that I think is so overrated or underrated, rather, in this process, is that you can have all of your ducks in a row. You can have all your options lined up. But the timing of that has to work for everyone. And the year that LeBron came back, we actually went really far down the path with several free agents not named LeBron, and we had him on the board as the guy. What didn't even have the name up there because we never imagined he would come back that year, right? We thought, give it a year, figure out whether or not we know what we're doing, and then he can come. When he came right away, we had a list of free agents that were ready to come. Kyrie had successfully recruited everyone that we were trying to bring. But the situation took so long to play out. By the time we were down to the decision that LeBron made, he was all that was left of those options because everybody had to choose to get on with it.
Right.
And so it becomes really significant that you can land the plane, pardon the pun, you can land the plane soon enough that you can bring all of this to fruition, because otherwise people are going to take deals. And Eric has done a phenomenal job of explaining this to us. There's so little cap space. When someone offers it to you, you probably take it.
Right.
So they're not going to be able to play this game for very long this year.
I look forward to the 30 and 31 day, the relationship between the Mavericks and DeAndre Jordan, because the report now from the New York Times,
they're like that old girlfriend. He's changed.
1 year, $24+ million deal with
He's
the Mavericks.
different now.
It was not long ago. People were locked inside a room in a basement. There were candles. They were being quiet.
He's different now. He blocks a lot fewer shots. Goodness sake.
Dallas is a
He
team
lost weight.
that has they had a huge pedigree for winning. They've got a great coach. We know about that.
Yep.
Dennis Smith, nice year. Luka Doncic, I think we all agree. I know they don't want to hear that here in Atlanta, certainly, but a huge, huge pickup. How does DeAndre Jordan fit? Why does he fit here?
Well, look, he may be he's not the defensive force that he was a few years ago, but he's still an elite rebounder. He's still a terrific rim runner, and I think he's still a valuable asset to a team that's trying to rebuild itself quickly and become a playoff contending team again. As we all know, Mark Cuban is not going to sit around idly and watch a rebuild take 5 or 6 years. He's going to try to jumpstart the thing. And so for not a ton of money, you get a chance to get a much, let's be honest, a better starting center than you had last year, right? I mean, all due respect to Dirk and all the other people that played that position. DeAndre Jordan's better at that position than they are. and you add Doncic, and then you have Smith, and they'll probably
Harrison Barnes has done
Harrison
a nice job
Barnes
for
has
them.
he's been fine.
Done a nice job.
As a player there. So you're putting some pieces together. And you mentioned Rick Carlisle might be the most important piece of all.
And I think the most powerful thing at work here is how much our history dictates our future.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Cuban won a championship playing from the middle.
Right.
He found a way to have a team that was a playoff team and a team that had expectations but were nowhere near the odds-on favorite to go to a finals, and continued to spend his way above the tax to add more talent to the group. So he doesn't look at it as, I have to have a championship nucleus right this minute. I have to have players that I believe can be part of it, and if we have to win from the middle, so be it. I'm not going to tank. This is not a binary situation for Mark Cuban, and that's what the signing is evidence of. That and the fact, of course, that they need rim protection when they have Luka Doncic and Dirk Nowitzki on the wing.
Correct.
Another Big D, a new Big D in Big D. DeAndre Jordan, happy with the cowboy hat. Remember Chandler Parsons? He was recruiting. Was it something I said? Telling you, the
He got
timeline
a
of
job
that
now.
story
He's different now.
Oh boy, from DeAndre.